This is the Bengals Pulse, the heartbeat of our victorious Cincinnati Bengals.
Can't miss player. I really do. A lot of people think I'm crazy. I think when he gets on the field, he's going to produce. He's going to produce at a high level.
They are almost unbeatable in December and January.
We're on another level. Thank you.
And I am going to become the first Bengals broadcaster to call a Super Bowl title. It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening this year.
In a row, Mon. 10 in a row.
Whodey, Bengal fans. He is Eric. I am Jake. Our guy Mon. He's going to try to jump on. He is currently at the hospital. One of his family members had a serious accident, and Mon is there right now with his family. So thoughts and prayers to Mon and his family. Obviously, hopefully we can get him on, but if not, Mon, we're thinking about you and obviously your family as well. So, Eric, it is the dawn of a new day, right? In Bengaldom, it is the Joe Flacco era, and it begins today at 4:25 in Lambeau Field. Not the greatest place to start it, but how are you feeling right now, Eric? How are you feeling with the Flacco experiment starting up?
You know, it's kind of like if you drive an older car and something breaks down on that car and you think that you're never gonna be able to have transportation to work again, and then somebody comes along and you thought you blew a head gasket or your whole engine, and instead someone comes around and said, "Oh, you just blew a head gasket." You thought you'd have no transportation until you bought a new car, and oh, it's just a smaller repair. We fixed it, and you're not going to be loving how the car drives, and it might not last forever, but it's going to get you where you need to go, and hopefully it gets us where we need to go today and until December. Before we get started, Whodey to Yash for joining us all the way from England. Thank you for not jumping over and watching that Jets game. That stinker of a game that they're putting on for you guys this morning. Jake, before we get into this, I know you have thoughts on the Broncos and their performance over there. Why don't you give us your thoughts on how competitive they look today?
Well, I think my comment was to our group chat with Ace and Zim and everybody. I think my comment was, it's just you watch the Vikings and you watch this Broncos team today. Detroit is a legit football team, but I think when you look at how bad the Vikings and the Broncos look on a weekly basis, and you see how piss poor we were against those two teams, I think that says all it needs to say to Jake Browning and honestly Zach Taylor for his play calling. I think again those two games with Joe Burrow, I think are easy wins. I think the Vikings is an easy win. I think Denver's an easy win with Joe Burrow at the helm. And again, like I said, a lot can be said about how good Joe Burrow is to have to not only play through bad offensive line play, but to play through bad play calling from Zach Taylor. But it's really frustrating when you watch how bad this AFC these AFC teams are. It's just frustrating not having Joe Burrow. And again, the AFC is completely up for grabs. There's nobody even that you would even be scared of playing if you had Joe Burrow, although, usually that's the case anyways. But this year, especially, I think it's just a shame that what happened. Hopefully Joe Flacco gives us that jolt in the arm that we need. Literally and figuratively, obviously, because he's got a very live arm. It's a rocket. Hopefully he can get us back to not only just get us back to 500 today, but keep us in this thing before Joe Burrow gets back.
For sure, for sure. Our guy Mon has joined us, so let's bring him on.
All right.
Mon, welcome to the pregame show. Hope your family is doing well. Thanks for finding time. I know the Bengals Pulse is therapy for all of us, so glad to see you here.
Thanks. Thanks. Can you guys hear me?
Yep,
Yeah, we
look
got you.
good,
Good.
sound good. Stash is
Yeah.
looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying not to talk so loud. I'm in the waiting room here. Everything's going well here. My father-in-law's doing well, and
Good.
thank you. Yeah, I listen to what you're saying, Jake. I wish we had a healthy Joe. I think things could be a lot different.
Yeah.
Saying that, for us to turn the season around, everybody's got to play better. Our defense has got to play better. Flacco is an improvement over Browning, but he's only been here a few days, and it's going to be interesting to see how he plays today. I wish it was in Cincinnati, not on the road.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I think this team is gonna have to be a team effort, complementary football. I'd love to get an unconventional score today, defensive TD or a kick return. We're gonna need that to have a chance today.
Mon is always about the unconventional score. All right, guys, let's just get right into this game. Let's get into it. Let's break it down.
Bengals versus Packers.
All
Okay.
right, guys.
Nice.
Bengals travel to,
Okay.
yeah, you
That's
like that,
fire. I
huh?
like that.
And
Literally.
there goes our
Yeah.
super chat money over
Yeah.
budget.
Just for the audio listeners, we got a cool little graphic there cooked up this morning. So Bengals traveled to Lambeau, Joe Flacco versus the Micah Parsons show basically today. So let's get into this game. Let's talk about some key matchups. One of the things I want to talk about first, because it's the elephant in the room. It's what we've talked about all week. But Joe Flacco's keys to success, and I've written down some for myself, but I want to go to you guys. Give me the keys for success for Joe Flacco today. We're going to go to the special guest Mon first.
The key is no turnovers, none. Can't have the interceptions. We can't have put our defense in a bad spot. That's what's killed us the last few weeks with Jake Browning. We just need him to not turn the ball over, just be smart with it and come out. And you know what? I, I would love to see a couple big strikes early on. It doesn't have to be touchdowns, good 30, 40, 50-yard passes maybe. That'll keep that Packer defense honest. And, in the back of their mind, they're thinking like, hey, this guy's got a big NFL arm. We got to be careful. It could free up the running game. But the big one, obviously, Captain Obvious moment here, don't turn the ball over. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Jake, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, it's hard to add to that. He's right. I mean, look at these last 3 weeks. You can't turn the ball over. I think is it 11 times in 3 games or something. I mean, listen, and most of those you can easily put on Jake Browning. I mean, he can, Jake Browning can come out and say what he wants to say, that it's not all on him and that sort of thing. But those I can't think of one of those interceptions that he threw that was the fault of a receiver. I mean, those were just bad forced throws. I mean, Joe Flacco needs to go out and just run the offense, right? And I think the biggest thing is too, Mon gave us that stat last week about, I think it was something before the Detroit game, how many, the drives and what the Bengals offense possessions have been. And, there was like 14 punts in there. The Bengals have got to, they've got to keep the offense on the field. They have to establish drives. They have to get points. And again, Joe Flacco does not need to come out today and throw the ball 50 times, right? We have got to run the football. The Bengals have got to establish the run today. They've got to run the football and give Joe Flacco an opportunity to create some opportunity in the pass game. And the only way to do that is to run the football. So, again, I don't want to see Joe Flacco throwing it 50 times, and I don't want to see turnovers. And I think if that happens, I think that this Bengals team is good enough to beat the Green Bay Packers. No doubt about it.
I go ahead, Mon.
I just want to add one other thing. The quarterback play, Jake already harped on it, but it's been so bad.
Yeah.
Because we have, in 3 of our 5 games, we've had under 190 yards total offense.
Yeah.
Guys, that's really piss poor. I mean, I know our star quarterback is out. That's where our offensive coaching staff has to do a better job. And it started with replacing the quarterback, but being so one-dimensional, as Jake said, it's really set this offense back. And if anything, hopefully they've learned from that, and they've devised some schemes or plays to jazz up this running game a little bit, because running for 40 yards a game is not going to do it.
No doubt. So I did. We didn't know Mom was going to come down on today, so I jotted some stuff down. Uh, I'm just
Okay.
going to add to this right now. I think this is absolutely a Zach Taylor game. We've been saying this all along. We need to see that Zach Taylor can tailor the offense to Joe Flacco, and because of that, I think we should see more 12 personnel. We should see more double tight end sets. For me, Joe Flacco is going to succeed if he has quick reads, and if it's not there, he throws the ball away. And I'd like to see some of that play action roll stuff that they did so well in that playoff run that he had with the Browns. I know that's not great with our offensive line. Joe Burrow hates that, but we've seen Joe Flacco's been doing this for decades. We've seen so many play action rolls for him. He's not the fastest guy, but he has success with it because it gets his guys open. One of the big things that we've seen him have success with in Cleveland is throwing to the tight ends. David Njoku, I think there's another tight end that they have there, a younger tight end. He finds those tight ends, and that's something we haven't seen this year. Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant. When we were having the most success, Noah Fant was getting the ball. So I'm gonna throw that question at you guys: Is this the game that we see Gesicki and Noah Fant and even Drew Sample really have that breakout game? Everybody talks about Higgins and Jamar Chase. To me, it's those tight ends. Is this the game where they break out because Joe sees them, Mon?
I think that's a good observation, Jake. Eric, I really do. I hope so, because Gasecki and Fant, they have had some receptions. Fant scored a TD, but I think they've been underutilized. Jake Browning has just been throwing moon balls, trying to get, spectacular plays from Chase and Higgins. I think, yeah, I mean, if we can't run the ball, use the tight ends as an extension of the running game. And, instead of throwing a 40-yard pass on 3rd and 2, maybe throw a 10-yard pass over the middle and convert that first down. I hope so, because we have some really good tight ends, and diversify the offense a little bit, uh, throw it around, and make the Packers think, man, make the Packers
Yeah,
stress out a little bit. I think it's been too easy for these teams the last few weeks. Stop Chase and Higgins. That's all we got to do. Hey, now stop Chase, Higgins, Fant, Gasicki, Brown, Yoshibas, 5, 6 weapons, and their heads will be spinning. And guess what? Maybe it'll open up our offense.
Well, it did open up our offense against Detroit, right? I mean, that we finally started seeing Yoshi involved. We saw Gasecki involved. We didn't see those two guys involved. The Vikings game or the Broncos game. Those guys were like non-existent. And as soon as you saw that last Sunday, you saw this Bengals offense starting to move the ball down the field. I think that's a really good observation, Eric. And I think that's what you're going to get from Joe Flacco is, Jake Browning, like Mon said, he's out there just trying to look for Jamar and T, right? He's just throwing balls downfield, taking shots, and that's all great. But what you're going to see from Joe Flacco is a guy who is a true pro and understands how offenses work and understands that before you take those deep shots, you have to open up the middle of the field. You have to throw the ball into the flats a couple times. You have to do those things to open up those shots that you're going to take. You're going to see that from Joe Flacco because he's a pro. And the reason why that Browns offense was able to do so well under Joe Flacco, not just the beginning of this year, but before when he was there, I don't know if you remember, but him and Amari Cooper, they had a real good connection. Joe Flacco just finds a way to get people the ball, and he does that because he's a pro and he understands how offenses work. I don't think Jake Browning understands how NFL offenses work. And again, I'm not trying to harp on Jake Browning. I'm not going to do that. But as bad as Zach Taylor's offense is, Joe Flacco will find a way to get everybody involved because he understands that's how you're successful, offensively, is getting everybody involved.
It's going to be a chess match. I mean, Jake, you're a football coach, You know your opponents, you know their weaknesses, and you're going to attack that weakness
Yeah.
until they adjust. Yeah. The Packers know that the Bengals' weakness, interior offensive line. Joe Flacco's not very mobile. What has Zach Taylor and his coaching staff put together to counter that, to help them? We're
Yeah.
going to find out at 425 today. But if they give him time, if they give him a clean pocket, he has got the arm to make every throw in football. We couldn't say that last week because Jake Browning was limited. And I'm excited about the game. We'll see how it shakes out.
So, moving on here to some other matchups, we talk about our offensive line being very, very, very bad. I want to talk about one of the other keys to the game and get your guys' thoughts on this. This is TJ Slayton returning to Green Bay. This is Jerry Montgomery returning to Green Bay. I was not aware of this until now, but I just looked up offensive line stats for Green Bay. We think our offensive line is horrible. We're the 31st ranked offensive line in the NFL. Green Bay Packers are the 32nd. Is this a revenge game for TJ Slayton and Jerry Montgomery? And could we see Trey Hendrickson or BJ Hill or Joseph Asai with multiple sacks today going up against that offensive line that's struggling as much as we are? Jake?
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's something I was going to talk about actually today. Is this Green Bay offensive line has not looked good this year, guys. They've given up 8 sacks already this year. I think the one thing Jordan Love has done really well is he is not turned the ball over, right? He's got 8 touchdowns to 1 pick. He's very efficient throwing the football, almost at a 70% completion percentage. But this offense struggles protecting him. And I think that's something the Bengals are going to have to find a way to do defensively. They're going to have to try to find a way to get pressure on Jordan Love because he has been very efficient with the football. Again, Tyler Kraft is their number 1 receiver, and he plays tight end. He's got 16 catches. The next closest guy is Dobbs with 13. So this Green Bay Packers offense is more of run the football with Josh Jacobs, right? And Jacobs he's having a decent year. He's got almost 300 yards on 80 carries. He's averaging about 3 point something yards a carry. But they run the football and they throw the tight end. And that's something the Bengals are going to have to stop today is that run game with Josh Jacobs. Make sure they don't establish any kind of run game and get pressure on Love. Because when Love has time, he is very efficient with the football. He doesn't turn the football over. The Bengals, like Mon said, they're going to have to create some turnovers today. They're on the road in Lambeau. It's not an easy place to play. You got a quarterback making his first start for this team. They're going to have to get turnovers. They're going to have to flip the field position, and they're going to have to give Joe Flacco some short fields to work with, to help with what we'll talk about in a minute, but with this Packers pass rush and Micah Parsons. Mon.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is going to be a motivating factor for Slayton and Montgomery. Everything Jake said, they got to control the line of scrimmage. If they could get some good pressure on Jordan Love, any quarterback, I don't care who it is, nobody likes pressure. And that's going to be the key today. If we get 3, 4, 5 sacks, I really like our chances. It's going to be a key. We need a big game from Miles Murphy. Slayton's got to stop the run. I think their star wide receivers out for the game, if I'm not mistaken. One of them, is it Wilkins? Is he out?
It's Watkins.
Yes. Yep. Watkins has not returned.
Watkins,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's going to help. But you're right, their tight ends are really good. Jordan Love is a good quarterback. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in football. Make him
Remember, you wanted
uncomfortable.
us to draft him.
Yeah. He's a good player. He's a really good player. So we'll see. It's just it's all about controlling the trenches. And I got to say something. Our defense has a ways to go. I'm not living in some fantasy land, but they've made some plays. They are trending in the right direction. I know
They are
their overall,
trending. I agree with that.
their overall stats aren't great, but they haven't been set up to succeed. When the offense can't exactly get a first down. We talked about the 190 yards of offense in 3 of the 5 games. The defense has been on the field a lot. I know they're supposed to get off the field, but you know what? Complementary football, the offense should help them a little bit also. So we'll see. I like the direction they're going.
And
For
Jennifer,
sure.
let me say this
Oh,
real
go ahead.
quick. Jennifer's asked about Josh Jacobs. Jennifer, I have not seen anything yet as far as an inactive list. Obviously, that'll be released in a little while. But
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is banged up, but I think he was trending to play toward the end of the week. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, listen, without Christian Watkins, if Josh Jacobs doesn't play, and the Bengals find a way to lose this football game today, then Zach Taylor needs to be fired on the spot.
I doubt it would happen, but yeah, for sure. We're obviously going earlier. The second slate of games hasn't started, so we don't have an inactive list. We won't get that till about 1 o'clock. Talking about that, Dylan Fairchild has been having his not practiced all week and is dealing with injury. But I know Mon's got to get out of here. I wanted to just throw this to Mon before he leaves. With this offensive line, if we see Lucas Patrick out there or Jackson Kirkland or insert whoever, can you talk about this Micah Parsons versus our ragtag offensive line? How do we stop him?
Well, the Packers offensive or defensive coordinator is going to attack our weakness, and that's going to be the unknown left guard spot. I think it's going to be Reisner. It's going to start. I think Patrick is out. They activated Kirkland for the game. So it's going to take a team effort. I could see, unbalanced lines, maybe an extra blocker back there to help out because Flacco is not very mobile. We know that. Everybody's been talking about it. They gotta help him out. I'm not too worried about our tackles, even though Orlando Brown to me has regressed a little bit. It's that pressure up the middle. You got to protect him. I'm telling you, Karras has got to play better. He really does. And he was much better last year. The first 5 games, I think he struggled. But I just hate that we continually talk about that interior offensive line. One bright spot. I think we're set at right guard for a long time. I really like Rivers. I think Rivers is going to be a solid player. Guys, I'm sorry I have to leave, but let me give you my prediction real quick.
Sure.
Sorry, Bengal fans. I think it's 27-17 Packers, but I want to be wrong. And please, I would love for you guys to send me a message and say, Mon, you're wrong, because I want to be.
I will.
Well, let's clip
I
it
know
up.
you will.
22 minutes and 45 seconds. Mon was wrong. You
Okay.
got it, Jake. I got it for you. Just capturing those times we're wrong. All right, Mon. Thanks for joining us. We got this Bengals Pulse theme, so it's kind of cool to have the beeping in the background, like we're really leaning into it. Hope everything is okay. We'll talk to you after the game, hopefully.
All right, guys. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think one thing we need to look at too, Eric, is Micah Parsons has actually not been their best pass rusher. Rashawn Gary is a stud. So for this Bengals team, I don't think as an offensive unit, I don't think the focus needs to be so much on Micah Parsons as it does Rashawn Gary. I feel like Rashawn Gary is a harder matchup for us than Micah Parsons is, and I think that's where this Bengals offensive unit's got to focus everything on, is making sure that not just Micah Parsons, but Rashawn Gary and the rest of this defensive line. They only have 11 sacks as a unit. This Green Bay Packers team. Rashawn Gary leads it with 4.5, and then you have Micah Parsons with 2.5, and then after that, there's not a lot there. It's really just linebackers and DBs blitzing. So stop those two guys. Don't let those two guys beat you up front, and obviously, find a way to get the ball out of Joe Flacco's hands quickly. Go under center some, run some play action, run the football. I mean, do some different things here on offense and just line up and shotgun every damn play and throwing deep and trying to stretch out the boundaries. Like, that just is not successful football on any level. That's not successful on any level doing that. So why are we trying to do that at the highest level of football? Find a way to be creative today. Give Joe Flacco – listen, we've seen Joe Flacco at his best, and his best is play action under center, with the big arm and letting the ball go downfield. So, Zach, please,
Yeah.
I'm begging you, Zach. I'm begging you. Be creative today. I don't want to see the same shit over and over and over today.
Here, I got a rebuttal on that. We got 178 people on here, and
Thank you.
I think 190 of them want to know how this run game gets going. I want to a counter because we say get creative. I think Zach is tries to be too creative and too cute. How do we get Chase Brown going? And is it the fact that Joe Flacco is more comfortable under center that we'll see more runs from under center and not just this shotgun running game? Is that the key to getting Chase Brown going, or is there something else that we need to do?
I think really for me, being not just a head coach but an offensive coordinator, I think you have to look at your players and each individual player and what is the best way to put them in the most successful position to make plays. And I don't understand our wanting to run Chase Brown between the tackles so much. Every once in a while is okay, but Chase Brown is a threat on the outside, right? Off tackle. If you can get him on the edges, he is a threat, and he is not a threat running between the tackles. His biggest plays for us have been in the pass game, which is to the boundary, and running outside, whether it's outside zone or any kind of an off tackle where you're double G'ing and pulling both guards. But trying to run power and stuff with Chase Brown is just not. It doesn't make sense to me. And we've seen P. Ryan come in and have some success running in between the tackle because he's a bigger back. He's built for that. Chase Brown, we need to use his skill set and get him outside the tackles. So I think getting Chase Brown going is more about what kind of run fits we're trying to give him instead of just running in between, the A gaps and the B gaps, and get him outside, outside the C gaps and even to the C gaps where you can double G and run some type of an off tackle pull play. And then, get P. Ryan inside, let him run between the tackles and pound it out. He's had some success doing that. P. Ryan actually has looked good this year running the football. So I think it's just Zach Taylor. Sometimes as an offensive coordinator, I think guys get stuck at looking at, okay, this is my offense, and I should be able to run every play with every guy. But I think that's Zach Taylor's biggest fault is that that's the way he approaches things instead of looking at it like, okay, what is Chase Brown's skill set? What is Samaje Perine's skill set? And what is the best way for us to run the football with those two guys? And instead of getting stuck in that rut of, Joe Mixon could do both. Joe Mixon was a more versatile back. Chase Brown is not a pounding back. He's not a bruiser. Get him outside the tackles, man.
So, do you think that the Bengals? I mean, I think that what you're saying and what I think is the Bengals shouldn't necessarily say Chase Brown is our featured back. I think that we should go to a two-headed back type thing where either Samaje or Taj Brooks are the bruisers that come out there, and then Chase Brown is your change of pace. We see it work so well with the Detroit Lions, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I think the Bengals need to go to something like that, and I wouldn't mind seeing Samaje out there in the first quarter starting the game because the one way that you set the tone is by getting up there and hitting them hard. And Samaje is always running and hitting those holes hard. Wear that defensive line down, and then let Chase Brown come in there when they're kind of on their heels. Would before we get into our predictions, I know we're getting up on time here. Do you think the Bengals need to evolve to that?
I don't know. I don't know if they need to evolve to that yet, but I do think there needs to be again more opportunity for Samaje Perine, and I do think too that another part of Chase Brown's skill set is in the pass game. Right, Chase Brown has had he's had a lot of success in the pass game, and I think I think the Bengals need to do a better job of that, of getting Chase Brown more involved in the pass game. And then, like you said, I think Samaje Perine needs to play more football for this team. I think
sure.
he brings a totally different skill set than Chase Brown does. And Samaje has looked good this year. So I don't know if it's time to evolve to that yet, but I do think there needs to be more of a two-headed monster, so to speak, in that backfield where, Samaje is getting more touches and they're using Chase Brown more effectively than just trying to run him, with power plays in between the A gaps. It just doesn't make any sense.
For sure. And we're going to have to move on to our predictions here. We're at 30 minutes in. I appreciate everybody for joining us. We have nearly 200 in the room. That's
Thank you,
what
Matt.
we were hoping to evolve this to. Everybody goes out there and watches these crappy pregame shows, and we're trying to create a place where Bengals fans can get together, argue in the chat. We'll give you some good breakdowns of the game. You can argue with us because who needs to go and watch the Fox pregame or watch this horrible game that's going on in London right now? Come together as Bengals fans. At least every away game, we're going to do this, and we hope it gets the snowball rolling, and you enjoy the content. With that, let's move on to our predictions.
AFC North predictions.
By the way,
Never.
Eric, I really do all seriousness. I really do like that graphic before with the
Oh yeah. Oh, you want to do that one too?
that was nice. I like that.
I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Before we get into your prediction, T. Brookie had a question here, and I want to talk about this and then get your opinion. Then we'll
Okay.
get your prediction.
All right.
He didn't expect to win today. He thought preseason that it was going to be a loss with Joe Burrow. To me, going into this with Joe Burrow, I had this as a win on our schedule, obviously, even with my predictions where I had us winning everything. But to me, this is an easy win. Seeing the state of the Packers, if Joe Burrow's out there, this is an easy win. I believe that it's a winnable game, provided Joe Flacco can stick to our keys. Why don't you talk about what you thought before the season started, and then go through your thoughts today and give us your prediction?
Yeah, listen, I'll be honest with you. The Green Bay Packers have not looked great. They really haven't. And I understand where T. Berkey's coming from, because I think, preseason picks, Green Bay looked really good on paper, but they have struggled. I mean, let's be real. They lost to the Cleveland Browns, right? They scored 10 points against the Cleveland Browns. And I know the Cleveland Browns defense is good, but the Green Bay Packers have not – it's not like they've been world beaters, right? I don't remember if I had this as a win or a loss. I mean, going into Lambeau is always going to be tough to do and to win football games. But listen, Joe Flacco has done just about anything you could possibly think of in this league, playing for as long as he has. I think again, I don't want to sound like a homer here, but I think Joe Flacco gives his team a little bit of a jolt. And I'm going to pick them to win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think you're going to see a much better looking offense on the field. I think you're going to see the ball spread out a lot more. I'm hoping that we get to see some kind of a semblance of a running game. But I do. I think I can't remember if I picked them to lose this game or not. I think I picked them to lose the Detroit game is what I picked. But I don't know. Green Bay is one of those teams. They don't really scare me. They really don't scare me on paper. Again, this offensive line in Green Bay is not very good, guys. It's really not. So I'm going to say this. I think the Bengals look a lot better today. And I think Joe Flacco gives us a chance to win. And I'm going to say the Bengals do win this football game. I think it's really close. I'm going to say Bengals win 27-24 on an Evan McPherson field goal. I just think that Joe Flacco, he's already played the Packers once. He understands scheme-wise what some things that he might see. And I think it gives the Bengals a big advantage that Flacco has already played and beaten this team I like the Bengals in this game, 27-24.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. My big thing is I don't want to come out of this game with just a moral victory. I think that we will come out of this game and say, okay, the season's not over. The AFC North is gettable. Even if we lose this game, we're going to come out and say, okay, it's gettable. We've got a quarterback that's not going to just willy-nilly throw it away and throw turnovers away. I want to come out of this game with win. I want the moral victory of being back in it, and I want the win that sets us up great for that Pittsburgh matchup. I
Let me say
think,
this, Eric. Let me say this real quick too, before I forget. We have 3 losses right now, but 2 of those losses is to NFC teams, right?
right.
So when it comes down to the end of the season and it comes down to the seeding and all of those things and how all that works, I mean, right now the Bengals are 1 game out of the playoffs. So when you look at yes, we've lost the last 3, but 2 of those teams are the NFC teams. Those losses don't hurt you as bad as losing to AFC teams. So I think, like you said, if the Bengals drop today, even if it's close and they look good, I think that gives us a good jolt playing Pittsburgh on Thursday night in Cincinnati. Those are the games the Bengals have to win. They have to win those division games, and they have to win those AFC games. So this is really a good tune-up game. I wish it was at home, but this is a good tune-up game for this Bengals new offense.
Yeah, my biggest thing is if Joe Flacco just controls the ball and just finds the open reads that were there. We saw some film breakdowns, the open receivers were there. If he
Yes.
just finds those guys and keeps the ball in our hands, even if we're punting, if we don't have those turnovers early in the Lions game, we're in it and we have a chance to win against one of the best teams in the NFL right now. So I believe that we can come out of this not just with a moral victory, but with a lot of momentum rolling into that home game. I think it's a whiteout game in Cincinnati against
It
the
is.
Steelers. You
Yep.
go out there and you win this game with a guy that just showed up on Tuesday, and you go and then you follow it up with a win against the division leading Steelers on Thursday. This whole season turns around just like that. That's what I'm calling for. I don't want a moral victory today because you turn your season around right now. And Zach Taylor, your seat's only warm instead of hot. So that's what I'm preaching, and that's what I want those guys to do.
I agree 100%.
With that, we do have 200 people in the room here today.
Thank you
Again,
guys so much. You're awesome.
thank you
Thank
so much for joining. We're gonna continue to do these pregame shows, no matter how many Bengals fans show up. If one fan shows up in the audience, we're here for that one fan. Thank you to those watching from the West Coast early in the morning, those watching for overseas. God knows what time it is. Appreciate you, Yash, and even our Australia friends if they're watching. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in. We're going to keep doing this. And we're going to keep doing our post games. We're going to be back as soon as the clock hits 0 to react, win, lose, or draw. Let's just hope for a win. I got that cool Bengals win graphic, and I really want to use it. Uh, Jake, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm gonna be honest with you, Eric. I feel different this week. I really do.
Yep.
I feel a little bit of positivity. I'm not gonna let it get too out of hand. I'm not gonna let my optimism go crazy, but I'm gonna say this. I think that as much shit as we give this Bengals organization, going out and getting Joe Flacco, I think shows us that they are trying to win.
Yeah.
I think if they ran Jake Browning back out this week, I think there's no hope for this team or this organization. But going out and getting Joe Flacco was a great move. I think it was a big move. It's something that I wanted to see, to be honest. He was one of the guys on my list, even above Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, because I just feel like this guy knows the AFC North. He knows the AFC. Every damn team he's played for has been AFC teams. Like, this guy knows what it takes to win in the AFC and the AFC North. I think he's a good fit for this Bengals team. And I'll be honest, man, I'm excited to watch the Bengals today. And
Yeah.
I haven't said that in a couple of weeks, to be honest.
No, it's nice to be excited again. It's nice to get out of that 90s move. So yeah, let's there's a lot of hope, and we're going for an actual victory, not a moral victory. With that, Jake, take us out of here.
All right, guys. As always, if you like this podcast, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you check us out on all the awesome podcast platforms, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify. If you like this podcast, make sure you give us that 5-star review. We'd very much appreciate that. Follow Mon on Twitter at @TheFireMon. Follow me on Twitter at Coach Jake Owens 9. Follow Eric on Twitter at eFlash with 2 H's 88. Follow the Winstonati Podcast Network on Twitter at WinstonatiPod. And as always, guys, follow us on Twitter at the Bengals Pulse, on Instagram, the same without the the Bengals Pulse. And as always, guys, check out all the awesome podcasts right here on the Winstonati Podcast Network. Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. We love you guys. We appreciate you. As Eric said, we will be back right after the game to give you our thoughts on all the post-game stuff going on. Hopefully, Eric, we get to show that Bengals win. I will be very excited to see that. But again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. We appreciate you. He is Eric. I am Jake. Again, thoughts and prayers to Mon and his family. Hopefully everything comes out healthy and good. Hopefully we'll see Mon tonight as well. And hopefully we'll see all you guys tonight right after the game. Whodey, Bengal fans. We'll see you this afternoon.